Hello everyone, back tuning into today's video. We're going to have a look at where next week's 10 days. In today's video, it's taking us into the start of December. I think go to 3rd of December with this update. So we've got colder weather on the way. We have changed the air mass across the country overnight. Lost all of that very warm air, very mild air that we had yesterday. We're now in a cooler air mass, and we're going to see temperatures dropping from here. It's going to be getting colder and colder as we get through the weekend and into next week. Winds will be turning into the north, so we are in for some quite cold weather, night frost, and some wintry showers as well. We're not talking about the sort of depth of cold that we had in December, late November, December 2010. It's not extreme cold weather that we've got coming up, but because we haven't had much cold weather over the past 2 or 3 winters, I think it will be a little bit of a shock to the system. But we're not talking about anything too bad at this stage in terms of severe cold and snow. Certainly not like we had in the December to remember 7 years ago. So I'll take you through everything that's going on in a moment. We've got both of the GFS and the ECD having agreement that we are going to get cold northerly winds next week. A little bit of disagreement about how long those winds last. But I'll talk you through it all in a second. Before I get on with that, though, just to say that the Christmas shop is open, so if you've got any Christmas shop to do at Amazon between now and Christmas, just click the green button that says Gaz Chris Shop. It takes you to our Chris Shop page, and from there, the key to it all is to go through the Amazon banners. Because you're going from Gaz Service to Amazon, we get a revenue fee on the things that you're buying. Big thank you to everybody for doing that. We've got the live event coming up tomorrow. So at 7 o'clock this evening here on the homepage at Gaz Service, there'll be a video that if you press play on that video, you'll be able to hear myself and Quantum talking live about the weather, about the cold weather, about the models. No doubt winter will crop up as well, and we'll be taking your questions also, so you can post your questions in the comment box at Gaz Omens. You can tweet your questions to us, post them on our Facebook page, and also email them, and we'll be more than happy to answer your questions if we can. So it'll be fully interactive, and it all starts from 7 o'clock tomorrow evening, probably running for an hour or 2. And what else have I got to say? So I think that just about covers it all. I'll just say that the Christmas update tomorrow will be a little bit earlier because of that, so it'll be 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Right, we'll get on with it, and we'll start off by having a look at the Central England temperature from Hadley. So this is just updated. Provisional to yesterday, 22nd of November, we coming out at 8.2 degrees, an anomaly of 1.2 above average. So about a degree above average, fairly mild, although I expect that to be about as high as we're going to get now, and I suspect over the final sort of days of November that will drop downwards. So in the end, I don't think we'll be deviating too far from average, to be honest. I think we'll be coming out quite close to average, certainly within half a degree of average, I would anticipate, by the time we get through to the end of the month. This is the Arctic Oscillation Observed and Forecast chart from NOAA and NCP and CPC as well. So the black line here tells us where we've been with the Arctic Oscillation. The red line's at the end where GFS Stumbles forecasting the Arctic Oscillation to go. Excuse me. At the moment, we are very substantially negative with the Arctic Oscillation. The black line is down here at around -3 to -4. That Arctic Oscillation is going to lift up back towards neutral in the next few days, but then as we run towards the end of the month, this is 1st of December just here, we are trending the Arctic Oscillation back negative again. Now remember, this is just an index that's reflecting the state of the atmosphere over the Arctic. It's not driving anything, it just tells us what the weather is doing. When the Arctic Oscillation is negative, such as we're seeing here, that tells us we've got high pressure, we've got blocking around the Arctic and around Greenland as well. Blocking is the route pushing out cold weather from the pole and down into the mid-latitudes. So in the next few days, we're going to see the blocking signal relaxing a little bit, but then as we go through to the end of November, inside of December, we are trending negative again. And it does look as though this might now have entered into sort of a long-term negative period from the middle of November. It looks like we may be into a long-term negative period. The Arctic Oscillation and its counterpart, the North Atlantic Oscillation, they tend to move in blocks of around sort of 2 months or so. For example, we had a run of positivity of the Arctic Oscillation just here, although it went a bit neutral there. But overall, this is quite a positive run of Arctic Oscillation condition going through pretty much from the start of October to sort of the middle of November, so around 6 weeks. Sometimes it can be a little bit shorter than that, running about a month. Sometimes it could be longer, running around 2 months. If we are entering a 2-month phase of negativity of the Arctic Oscillation, blocking essentially, a 2-month phase of blocking over the North Pole from mid-November, that would carry us through at least until mid-January. So that would suggest that the first half of winter might be a little bit on the colder side, certainly compared to what we've been used to recently. Of course, that is quite speculative. North Atlantic Oscillation is the same idea. So again, black line tells us where we've been with the North Atlantic Oscillation. Red lines at the end where the GFS ensembles forecasting the North Atlantic Oscillation to go. So you can see back here, back in the summer, we had quite a long run of negative North Atlantic Oscillation condition from August through into sort of mid-September. Generally, a lot of negativity of the NAO. Then we go through a more positive phase just here. Within these phases, you do get temporary deviation. So, for example, there in the second half of October, went a little bit more towards the negative side. But overall, you would say that this period just here is kind of like an extended run of negative NAO. This period just here is an extended run of positive NAO. Looks like we might have gone into a more extended period of negativity of the NAO again. So this is where we are right now. We are negative. GFS ensembles forecast things to stay negative as well into the start of December. So again, these indexes, they tend to run in blocks of a couple of months or so. If both the AO and the NAO are going to be negative from sort of mid-November through to mid-January, that would suggest the chance, anyway, of a colder first half to the winter, perhaps. I want to just show you this. This is the temperature at 10 HPA over the North Pole as forecast by the GFS model. We're starting off on the 1st of December. A couple of days ago, there was a bit of a suggestion that we might get a minor stratospheric warming over the, or trying to get into the Arctic through the first week of December. GFS is still going for that to some degree. This is taking us up to the 9th of December. You see these green and yellow colours appearing here, trying to penetrate in towards the North Pole. Perhaps a little bit less compared to what we were seeing a couple of days ago. It's very early days in any case, however. And very early days in the winter, I should say, in terms of warming the stratosphere over the North Pole. But a little bit of a hint that there is still something trying to happen there on the 9th of December. Right, GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles next 2 weeks. The red line here is the 30-year upper air temperature average. This is quite a striking looking chart, isn't it? Because it's generally below average from start to finish. We're starting just here, this is for London by the way, starting just here, still a little bit above average. Temperatures are still sliding from yesterday's warmth, but within the next 24 hours we're going to be cooler than average, going probably colder than average over the weekend. Trying to warm things up a bit on Monday, just there, but still a bit below average even then. And then colder than average again through most of next week, and quite significantly above under, I should say, that red line. The red line is quite significantly above our temperature trend for the next couple of weeks. Even going into the extended part of the GFS ensembles, which is this period just here, there is a lot of scatter, but the overall sort of ensemble mean, which is the white line, that is still staying colder than average. So yes, there are some members that are warming things up through this first week of December, but the thrust of the ensemble is actually to keep things colder than average even into the first week of December. It looks like we're heading to quite an extended period of cool to cold weather. precipitation, so we've got rainfall coming up in the next sort of 24 hours, particularly so for the south. Further north, it'll be a case of wintry showers. Then more rainfall on Monday. After that, though, quite dry. When it's cold, it does tend to be dry because cold air holds less moisture than warm air or mild air. So generally quite a cold, dry looking scene as we're going into next week. Temperature anomalies are reflecting this. So we're going colder than average here now from the 23rd of November to the 1st of December. The temperature anomaly is coming out colder than average for the UK, Ireland and Norway as well. The warmer than average temperature anomalies, they're being pushed off into the east of Europe and also affecting Spain and Portugal. These may well trend even colder than this over the next few days. Precipitation anomalies from the 23rd of November to the 1st of December, they're coming out drier than average, so cold and dry for the final week of November. Over in America, it's a completely different story. So virtually the whole of America, away from some of these southern, southeastern states, coming out warmer than average, very significantly warmer than average through sort of the Midwest. Really warm temperature anomalies there. Precipitation anomalies show that it's a dry scene across much of the states. Obviously they're under some kind of warm ridge that is keeping the flow coming up from a southerly direction, but keeping things mainly dry. But if there's anybody out there that thinks it's always cold in America and always mild in the UK, well, the next week shows that is not the case, because we're going to be cold and they are going to be very warm, or certainly milder than average. Right, coming back to the GFS for Sunday, Ben, we're in this run of northwesterly winds. I'll be feeding in wintry showers to the north and west on Sunday. Then we bring this area of low pressure in from off the Atlantic on Monday. That'll have showers and longer spells of rain with the possibility of hill snow with that as well. By Tuesday, we're back into those cold northerly winds as this ridge is building through the Atlantic and trying to get up towards Greenland. So by Wednesday, we've got high pressure close to Iceland, low pressure centered over Denmark. We're pulling down a cold north or northeasterly wind. Expect night frost and probably snow showers in northern and eastern parts of the country. Thursday is also looking cold, with again high pressure out to the north and west, low pressure to the south and the east. Again, we've got those winds in from a north or northeasterly direction. There could be snow showers, particularly so in northern and eastern parts of the country, and it is likely to be cold. Do keep in mind we aren't talking about the freezing, severe cold and very snowy weather that we had around this time in 2010. I'm sure, because it's our first sort of cold spell or cold snap that we've had at the end of November to the start of December since 2010, there will be a lot of comparisons. You'll be seeing a lot of comparisons, particularly in the press, about the sort of a freeze-up, snowy conditions, the coldest conditions since December 2010, that kind of thing. But bear in mind, this is not the depth of cold that we had in December 2010. It's not the depth of cold and severity yet. Not saying it won't get to that point, but at the moment, there's no sign that we're going that severe. And as going to the extended range of the GFS, we do actually find a little bit of milder air beginning to topple in around the top of the high pressure. I wouldn't take that too seriously at all. In this kind of pattern, the kind of blocking that we have there, for example, in the middle of next week, the models will always be very keen to break that down and bring westerlies around the top of it, so don't take that too seriously. We saw from the ensembles, GFS ensembles, generally, most of the ensemble members are keeping things cold into the first week of December. Eastern UF looking like this, wintry showers in the north and the west on Sunday, a little bit less cold with rain on Monday, then we're back into those northerly winds through to the middle part of next week. The second half of next week, collapses will reach down across the country, different to what the East End was showing yesterday when it wanted to keep us cold and blocked into the first week of December. That's how we finish up at day 10, with the ridge collapsing down over the country. That's still cold, it's still frosty, but we are beginning to try and revert milder westerly winds around the top. Now, it might pan out like that. We might bring milder weather back through the first week of December. But as I say, don't take it too seriously. These models are programmed to try and revert us back to our default pattern. Our default pattern is westerly winds. They do have, they always have had, and they still have problems with breaking down, blocking high pressure, blocking ridges too quickly, and that could well be what's going on there this morning in the extended range of these models. Essentially, it's up to around the middle of next week that we're reliable. So in the reliable time frame, we're cold with those northerly winds. Anything beyond the middle of next week, sort of 5 days out, is unreliable, particularly in this kind of weather pattern. Finally, just leave you with the ECMWF and GFS ensembles from weathercast.co.uk. So the blue line here is the GFS ensemble operational run, I should say. The red line is the ECMWF operational run. All these other grey lines, they are individual members of both the GFS and the ECMWF ensembles. The most important thing with this is the yellow line, because that is the average of both the GFS and the ECMWF ensembles. You can see that overall they're looking cold through next week. The yellow line here is staying at or under 5 degrees. This is for London as well, saying at or under 5 degrees with both the GFS and the ECMWF ensembles. And despite the fact that ridge with the ECMWF was collapsing down over the country through the first week of December, actually the ECMWF operational was really quite cold, barely above freezing there, for example, on day 10. But if we did go out beyond that, it probably would have turned things a little bit milder. So that's how it's looking. We're in for this coldest period of weather, most definitely. We're going to have a colder weekend. Monday will be a little bit less cold with rain and hill snow. Then we're back into those northerly winds through Tuesday and Wednesday. That's as far as we go reliably. Beyond that, both the GFS and the ECMWF through the second half of next week and sort of into the start of December want to begin to collapse a ridge down over the country. Still cold and frosty probably, even up to day 10, but threatening to return us back to westerly flow. Don't take it too seriously. These models are programmed to break down a blocking ridge very quickly. They often do it too progressively. So we may well find more twists and turns with this as we go into the first week of December. It's a cold outlook really for the rest of November and into the start of December. Right, tomorrow we've got JMA Friday. We'll have the next Christmas update, and also, of course, it's the live event in the evening tomorrow with myself and Quantum talking about the weather live at Gazmo Events. So come back for all the updates tomorrow. That's all for now. Thanks.